I can. All right, we're going live. We're going live on Facebook.
3, 2, 1.
I wish. It takes a bit longer than that.
I don't have my makeup. Where am I?
There's an app for that, I think.
So, Jeremy, you can continue to give us some
chat.
Yeah. What was the one thing on Twitter that was good this week was your favorite mundane celebrity encounter. So, like, I'm in Seattle. It'd be like,
That's a
I
good
I was at the West Seattle QFC and I saw Eddie Vedder buying pasta.
Oh, I'd freak out if I saw Eddie Vedder buying pasta. And that's not an Italian thing. I once asked Dustin Hoffman for directions in New York. And he gave me directions. It was great.
That's fantastic.
That was a good one. I wanted something to talk to him about, and I was looking for the Met at the time. I had just moved to New York, and it was early in the morning, Dustin Hoffman walking in my direction about a block away, and I go, holy shit, that's Dustin. Hey, excuse me. And he looked at me, he's like, oh, geez. And I went, how do you get to the Met? He's like, a couple more blocks that way, and then take a right, and you should be able to see it. I was like, thanks.
So how short is he really?
All of them are midgets. All the celebrities are midgets. Little people. They're all little people.
Tom Cruise running.
So I was running a bar in Nashville, and James Gandolfini was filming The Castle. And
Nice.
I'm behind the bar, and in the bar's packed with roll-open windows. Place is kind of rocking. And all of a sudden, like, I'm facing the back bar, and I'm reaching for bottles. And all of a sudden, the place goes deathly quiet. And I'm like,
Wow.
what is happening? And him and a couple of the crew walk in, and all of a sudden, literally, you hear, like, nobody's talking, or everybody's just, like, going to whisper, and you hear, James Gandolfini.
Oh, wow.
Is that him? Is that James Gandolfini? And I was like, that must be so weird being, like, a celebrity and walking in a place that's, like, a busy bar, and all of a sudden, it's just, like, crickets.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
So Jeremy, you know where the Oak Brook office is, obviously.
Yes.
So right there off the highway. I was working in a restaurant in the space that is now Seasons 52. This was probably 2010 or so. And I'm looking out the front, and I see this bus, and I'm like, oh, man, like, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you're just thinking, like, oh, it's a bus, we're going to get screwed. So only one dude gets out of the bus, comes in, sits down for a 2 o'clock lunch, and it's John Legend.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
And they literally just pulled off the highway into the restaurant because it was next to the highway.
Incredible. All right, we're going to kick it off. So, welcome to Thursday Digital Speakeasy. I am your host for the day, Tom Johnson, Noble Oak TJ, National Brand Ambassador for Noble Oak, based in Seattle. This is my DJ rave. I'm wearing my flying squirrel onesie. We've got 3 awesome dancers that are joining us. We're going to kick it off in the 20s, throwing it old school with Nancy. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to put you on the spotlight and kick off the track.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Nancy, is it hard for you to find like partners to dance with? Are you like, oh, let's dance to this song, and people are like, no, let's not. No.
So I have a new dance partner. Sorry, as I huff and puff. This is why I had it muted. I use the wall because I don't have anyone to dance with. So literally, hey.
It's like
hey.
shadow boxing.
It is like shadow boxing. It's very difficult, to be honest. Like, I teach people to Lindy Hop, so people have to hold hands. So right now it's kind of like, well, what do I do?
It's tough.
Yeah, so it's fun. Oh, sorry, everyone. I'm out of shape.
That's fun.
Don't worry, I was talking exactly the same 10 minutes ago. I can dance that much.
Yeah, but
If somebody were to
Go ahead,
just
sorry.
come in, are you dancing in a completely quiet room just listening on your headphones?
I had it on mute. I didn't unmute it, and I kept my headphones on.
But there's no music just going in the room. It was just in your headphones.
Correct. How was it? Did it look matched? Because Tom and I were
Yes.
exploring that.
Yeah,
that's
totally
completely.
fantastic.
Completely. That's why we had to ask the question, because it sounded perfect.
Yeah.
Because I've done a lot of live streaming on like Instagram, and lots of like live stream lessons are pre-recorded. But I've not done anything in Zoom where someone else was playing my audio for me.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, can we just test this, Tom? Can we just see if this lines up? Because that would drive me bananas if I was watching it. So
Like a second
so
off.
Yeah. So anyway, that's a comfort. Thank you. And also, like, how many people here are from the bar industry? Are all of you from the bar industry?
Yeah, all of us.
So like, I'm not industry, but like I'm industry adjacent in that I like to drink. So
Most important of us.
Yeah.
totally. But one of the things I find is, you're craftspeople, and I'm a craft, like as a dancer, we're craftspeople. So like, we make social art. We require people to interact for us to be able to do our best jobs.
Exactly.
And I find that really, it's nice to have people to engage with, because like, I'm in Canada in a warehouse where like,
Where are you in Canada?
I'm in Toronto right now. So I was in Mexico City on a dance residency, but I live in England.
Oh, wow.
And I'm stuck here for a while.
Is this the first time you two have met?
Yeah, no, so I guess I'll hop in here, Nancy, you can catch your breath, and then we'll come back and ask you some more questions, get the second song set up. So yeah, we've been building this digital speakeasy thing, and it's kind of settled into this. We're gonna have a bartender, we're gonna have some conversation, and I think of this, Jeremy, you've had on actors who are in the service industry, and Nancy, like you're saying, is like there's so many people who are in service, who are maybe drinking adjacent, bar adjacent, who would be performing in bars, who are all out of work right now. And a lot of folks that I've met in the bar industry were dancers who maybe got into the bar industry because that's how they were paying the bills. Same with a lot of actors. So we're gonna have a couple of my friends from back when I was bartending in New York who hop on a little bit later. But I just threw up the question like, hey, who's a dancer that would be willing to hop on here? And Nancy's name came up, and so I reached out to her, and we kind of.
That's awesome.
I used to live with Haley Forrest, who is an Italicus rep. But like Haley and I lived together in London for many years, so that's kind of how I got looped in.
Oh my God.
It shows the power of our networks, that they're all so interconnected, that bartending is so much a portal to all of the world. So I guess we always usually make a drink. I didn't have specifically a bartender come on because a lot of these folks are in the bar industry. Our next up is going to be Gustavo, who's also working at a bar, was working at a bar here in Seattle before everything got shut down. So I'm going to play bartender for the day. I got a cup full of ice. I got a jug of orange juice, and I have a bottle of vodka. So I'm going to kick it old school and mix up an underappreciated classic, just like Mom used to make. So you get a little of that stuff. You get a little of that stuff.
Oh, you're taking me right back to high school.
Yeah. You look like you're making some household cleaner. You're like, oh, a little bit of this, maybe a little
This
bit of
is
that.
very technical. This is very technical. I don't know if I can follow.
Yeah.
This is my Thursday afternoon here, mixology on the West Coast. Delicious vodka helps save the snow leopards, a Seattle-based trust. Gustavo, how are you doing over there, buddy? You ready to show us some moves?
No, no, no. Yeah, I'm super fine. I'm gonna try my best. I wish I could have the same space as Nancy. By the way, sorry if someone can understand me. I'm still learning English, so just in case, sorry.
Yeah, let's jump into it and give us just a bit of your story here. So you said you've been in the States for just a year and a half almost?
Yeah, 1 year and a half, and I'm from Argentina, so my native language is Spanish. And the one that tagged me in your post is Shabriel. He's the bar manager in the Monterey Club. And because they always play like funky music, rap, funky rhythm blues music. Every time that we was closing or before we open, I was dancing all the day. I have a few videos dancing inside the Monterey Club. Don't give me the fact that I was working. I was like, nope.
One of the most beautiful rooftop bars in the country too. Just opened up about a year ago.
Yeah, like the view is incredible. In summer. In winter, it's not that cool.
You have a few clouds here in Seattle. So you do breakdancing. So you're gonna show us some of those moves?
Yeah, I'm gonna try my best because, like I said, my space it's super tiny. So I'm gonna try my best.
All right. So I'm gonna play something just to get up here.
Okay, let me mute this. That's gonna be a little strange to dance.
No,
Trust me.
I'll get you a different song. This is your setup music. This is your camera setup music.
I'm gonna mute my sound, my microphone, so I cannot talk, so it doesn't gonna pick my sound. But I'm gonna let you know by my hand if that's okay.
All right. Evan, if you want to hop up and give us a little interim dance. Davidas, I know you're there too. It looks like your room is looking pretty great. There we go.
I'm gonna go in and make a cocktail, and then I'll tell you where. I'll jump in on the cocktail train. Mine might have a couple more ingredients than just the orange juice.
Oh, come on. You got to get one of these. It's a classic.
Tom, I think that's the first time I've seen you drink vodka.
Don't tell anybody. Here we go.
Yeah, I can totally listen to music, so it's perfect there.
We got Liza just hopped on, so we'll have a preview of her hallway. She's going to be jumping on next. Hi, Liza. Showing us some contemporary. And then when I can get it sorted, we're going to have Nancy come back on with it too.
Okay, let me know, or whenever you put the music, I can dance.
Doing good? Correct. I said that. There we go. When I think of breakdance, I think of early 90s breakdance, and this track in particular.
Collaborated in a status type phone. So slap palms, swing arms, tap souls. Cause no rock rolls down all hill. Yo, black, this kind of hill. We don't roll no rocks, we just fill. Heads with knowledge, pure foundation. Show prove it through the manifestation of our name, which is brand new. Brand Nubian, and we come to make the people aware that black means first. 400 years we've been made to feel cursed.
I hope that everyone could see that because the space that I have is super small and I'm super tall. So
That was awesome.
in
It
this
feels
space.
like you're dancing inside of a small cube, and that's the challenge, and that's why it's kind of incredible to watch. So
You know that all my students, that when they ask me for something that they need to learn something, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna do my best.
That was fantastic.
It's not that easy, and it's always raining here, so I cannot go outside.
Yeah. So how are you holding up with all this? Are you still teaching classes, or how are you still engaging with breakdance as an art form during shelter in place?
Right now, I'm just giving classes through Zoom, but it's super hard for me from where I am. It makes like 115 on summer, maybe 120. And living in Seattle, but it's always winter, it's always raining. I can't. I can barely live.
why did you start breakdancing? This is like, it's such a unique, what I always think of as this American, street art form from the 80s. And now my wife is a modern dancer, and I missed the email, but we'll get her on sometime in the future. What brought you to breakdancing, and what brought you to Seattle to breakdance? Answer
nice
all those
question.
questions.
Yeah, sure. I always like music. I do music, like as you can see my guitar that's there. And then I'm from a super, super small city. And the state where I'm from, it's bigger than Washington. It's like maybe like Texas, something like that bigger. And we are only 200,000 people living in that place. So it's like a super, super small amount of people. I just saw a random person dancing and doing popping inside a disco, like just doing this. I was like, I don't like what he's doing. I want to learn more. So I go to talk with him, and the only thing that he was doing is just a handstand to elbow. That's the only thing that he was doing. And he was like, no, this is breakdancing. You can do all of this. And I was like, oh, okay. YouTube, it was just a new stuff there. So I started searching, and internet just opened my life. So I started talking with people from another cities, start talking with them. And then one of the dudes that I know, he was like, you know what? Breakdancing, it doesn't start here. Breakdancing started in New York. And he talked about all the history of breakdance. Not only breakdance, all the history about hip hop. That's gave me like an idea about like, oh, this is bigger what I was expecting.
So it was breakdancing that brought you to the States and the internet?
A mix. There is a mix of stuff. If it was for breakdancing, I'm totally going to choose to go to the Bronx. Like, it's something like if you love Fernet and you're going to travel to somewhere because you love Fernet, you have two choices. You go to Italy or you go to Argentina because everyone drinks Fernet there. You have those two choices. So pretty much for me, I like breakdance. Where am I going to go? If I can choose, I'm going to go to the Bronx. That's where everything started. But at the same time, I just was trying to leave Argentina because it sucks in a lot of things. And I was working as a graphic designer, and there is not too much future if you do graphic design or you are a breakdance teacher. So when I get the chance to come to United States, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go. It doesn't matter where. And one of my friends, he was already living in Seattle, and he was like, well, you can come to my house, stay in my house, and we can figure out if it doesn't work in Seattle, you can move to the Bronx. That's where you want to go. Like, let's try it.
Yeah, might as well. That's kind of how I got here too, except with on a bike. Anyways, I'm happy to have you here in our city, man. So much thank you for your time, for showing us that. And we're gonna jump over, I think, to Liza now. Liza, how you doing? And then we'll come back and you can maybe show us, give us a little 101 lesson on how to do some breakdancing in a space that small in your house.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Hi, Liza. Welcome.
Hi.
You're on the spotlight.
Oh, thanks. Woo!
You just got off work, so thank you for hopping on right after work.
Yeah, I rushed through that call. It's fine. I invited them.
Everybody's here now. You can see, connect on the Zoom. How are you feeling? Are you feeling ready to go? Ready to show us some moves?
We'll find out.
From one hallway to another?
Yeah, right. I've done a handful of performances in this hallway just because it's a New York apartment. I don't have that much space, but this is the clearest wood floor space that I have. So
do you want to say anything about your background, contemporary dance, or kind of like, because I don't know anything about dance. This is like, I reached out to all these dancers and everybody's like, what kind of dancing do you want us to do? And I was like, I don't know. I just want it to be cool. And everybody
stuff. I grew up as a competitive figure skater. I started skating when I was 4, and then I started competing when I was 7, and that was when I started doing dance. That was in Wisconsin, and then I went to University of Wisconsin and got into the dance program there and got a degree there. Then I moved to New York. That was October of 2010. I haven't been doing a whole lot of work right now just because I've been focusing more on my career in the hospitality spirits industry, but stuff like this is still super up my weird little alley.
Well, congratulations! You're almost at 10 years, so you're gonna hit 10 years this October, and then it's real. Then you're a real New Yorker, and you never get to leave. So. Well,
I feel like this is kind of like cheating it a little bit because like we're all stuck in quarantine, so I'm not really surviving in New York right now. This is a different place.
That's not true. When you live through an experience like this in New York, that 3 or 4 year to be a New Yorker rule is waived. You are now officially a New Yorker.
I like you.
I like you too. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks, man. I also work for New York Distilling Company, so we're doing, we're trying to focus on local stuff, and I'm actually working on putting together a musical performance, I think kind of similarly to this. So this is also an opportunity for me to see how you guys are doing it, and we can all kind of learn from it.
I love it.
It's very exciting. Sorry that I missed the beginning of this. What happened in the beginning?
Oh, other people dance. Ready?
Sure.
I think, is he getting his, is this your music that he's queuing up here?
Can you hear it?
He picked it.
Oh, that's dangerous to let him pick. That's, oof.
What are you wondering? What do you know? Why aren't you scared of me? Why do you care for me? When we all fall asleep, where do we go? Spit it out. What is it exactly? The pain is the amount counting you out. Am I satisfactory? Today I'm thinking about things that are deadly. The way I'm drinking you down, like I wanna drown, like I wanna drown. Step on the glass, stifle your tongue. Bury a friend, try to wake up. Look back in the sun. Bury a friend. Honestly, I thought that I would be but no. Going security, keeping my head held down. Bury the hatchet or bury a friend right now. I gotta sell my soul, 'cause I can't say no, no, I can't say no. And my limbs are frozen, my eyes won't close, and I can't say no, I can't say no. Step in the park, step with a joint. I wanna end me. I wanna end me. I wanna end me. I wanna end me.
That was like watching a music video.
Oh.
That
No,
was
I-
awesome.
Now I
That's
feel like we're in
truly
a really
impressive.
good bar that has dancers in tiny cages of hallways. Like when you're in a great like night spot where it's like just lights on dancers doing beautiful things in like tiny confined spaces. Where you're just like, I just can't stop watching.
Oh, cool.
That was
was awesome.
super impressive. That's in such a small place. You can do all that.
Unbelievable in that small space.
Just got off work, right into that.
Ugh.
Incredible. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
I'm hoping that helped work through some of your work stress. You're just like, you know what? I'm just gonna hallway this out. I'm just gonna knock it out.
All of it. And quarantine stress.
All right, Nancy's on a bit of a time crunch, so let's jump back to Nancy quickly. And Nancy, you have a couple things that you're playing for too. So you wanted to mention some of the music that you're dancing to.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, that was an amazing performance in a hallway. So the music that I'm dancing to is actually formerly from Seattle, but New York based. A New York-based band called Glenn Kreitzer and his orchestra. And so the first song that I danced to was off of an album called Ain't It Grand, and it's on Bandcamp. And, you know, I don't know if people are aware, but once a month, obviously Bandcamp are waiving their fees for artists. So if you're like, hey, that track was cool. It was called Well, Get It. And it's by Glenn Kreitzer and his orchestra. So, you know, in general, I'm like, particularly for working musicians, I feel like that would be great. Glenn also recorded an album in seclusion with what he's calling Glenn Kreitzer and his Secluded Seven. And these are, again, working swing jazz musicians. And one of the songs, I wanted to say, like, I've listened to this song a bunch of times, but like there's something in it that I want to use maybe for another project. So I thought this would be a great chance to kind of just dance to it. Like everything I'm doing is improvised. So I've listened to this song, and it's written by a friend of mine, a New Orleans-based musician named Jason Jerzak. And again, these are all available on Bandcamp. Glenn has made this album from his Secluded Seven for like a pay what you want. So today, rather than like being like, hey, I could use some dough, it's more like, if you like this music, maybe consider buying the track or buying the album for whatever sum is reasonable for you. So this is called Lucky Devil. It's slower. So I'm using, again, Lindy Hop and solo jazz and solo blues language for parts of it, but it's really the first time I've let myself kind of dance through it. So this is exciting for all of us, but it's also a chance for me to kind of see what's there. So I'm gonna just have a bit of a play. I am obviously in a less confined space. My space is bigger but austere. But yeah, I hope here's what we make together, you know? And I'm gonna turn this up and mute myself.
I'd like to be that lucky devil that gets to burn with you. I wanna be on that lower level with a big box fan or two. Oh, I'm no angel, my wings been clipped. I've traded my halo for horns and a whip. Oh, I'd like to be that lucky devil that gets to burn with you. I'd like to burn with you.
Woo! That was great.
Panting less, slower is better.
Lower always helps.
Thanks, team. Thanks for having me.
Do you have like a history in like swing dancing, or how did you get sort of?
Well, so I got into swing dancing. My first class was when I was 16, and I was the third wheel on a date.
Nice.
And actually, I came back to the dance when I was like 19, and I took it up properly. But I've been dancing for 15 years, and I've been teaching for 11 years. And I decided, after holding down a day job for the majority of my dance practice, to quit my job to focus on dance full time. And my last day in full-time employment was the 27th of February.
You know, little sabbatical, you know, it's good.
But I'm a trained musician. I was a double bassist and an opera singer in college.
Wow.
And I've always I like all music. But like Liza, is it Liza or Lisa? I don't want to say it wrong.
Liza.
Okay, so Liza and I share a common past in that I figure skated for like 13 years.
Nice.
That's it.
So, you know,
There we go.
but Lindy Hop in particular, because I love the music, and it's music that I willfully found as a teenager that I was really into. That was sort of why swing dance really appealed to me. And also this whole idea of like social dance where you both play a role in making the thing happen. And it leaves room for serendipity. Like that's like the best bit of it. Like that's also why when I listen to jazz music where people might hear something esoteric, I go, the nature of improvisation, like in contemporary, it's the thing that allows room for serendipity and like cool shit to happen. And in breakdancing as well. So it's like, this is social art that we make that is so fused to the music. And if you like the music, then it causes you to look at the roots. And then if you look at the roots, then it causes you to embody the movement. And then as you embody the movement, then you make it your own. And I think that's something that really appealed to me with swing dancing in particular. What
is Lindy Hop? I feel like we're all a bunch of noobs who don't know a whole lot about the world of dance. And if any of you who are joining us as dancers, you know, we don't know much about the overlap between these worlds, between contemporary, between Lindy Hop, between break dance. I mean, if there are any threads or anything that you all want to shout out about that.
Well, just because I am going to have to like run away in a minute, but and I'm sad to miss others' explanations. Lindy Hop is the original swing dance that comes out of Harlem and the Harlem Renaissance in the 1920s and 30s, predominantly danced and pioneered by the African American community during the Harlem Renaissance. Although there were lots of people of different backgrounds who danced the dance. And it's because the most important ballroom in the history of this is the Savoy. And the Savoy was the first integrated ballroom in New York City.
Oh.
Which there's an interesting story there. And there's a very famous Lindy Hop troupe who, where the dance evolved alongside the music and encompasses a bunch of other dances. So it encompasses the Charleston. It encompasses what was at the time called the breakaway, and is the thing that then leads to jitterbug, West Coast swing, East Coast swing, all of those sort of variants. They all come from this wellspring of the dance. And that was largely forgotten for most of the 50s, 60s, 70s, and early 80s. And then was not rediscovered, but like there was a sense from modern dancers to go and seek out the elders of Lindy Hop and to actually bring the dance back into popular culture. So then you have things like, you know, the whole neo swing movement musically, electro swing. You have the Gap commercial that was like now like over 20 years ago. There's a whole cohort of Lindy Hoppers who all learned to swing dance because of Swingers and the Gap commercial. So it's but yeah, so that's kind of what it is. And you swing dance to swing music. So when we dance to electro swing, it suits Charleston more than it suits Lindy Hop because you need a syncopated rhythm the rhythm has to be swung in order for us to be able to kind of do our thing.
Hence,
my history lesson is over.
Love it.
It's awesome.
Yeah. And
so I had some friends who were actually from Charleston, and when I was in high school and in college, like they would swing dance, and you know, you're like, oh, that's dumb. Well, guess what? When you go to a prom or a social and you request like a swing song, and all of a sudden, like out of everybody, you're the only like 3 people who can do it, and girls are like, yeah, let's do it. This is gonna be fun. Yeah, you make friends fast, turns out.
Exactly.
It's just so fun to watch and so fun to do, and it's so fluid, and it's great to have a partner, and you don't have to both be really good at it. You just need like a good basic set of like dance moves, and you know, it is so touch based, whereas dancing now is so sort of removed from that. But like swing dancing is like you're catching arms and you're pulling each other around, and it's just, I mean, you have to have trust in your partner, but it's just so much fun.
So, and I think it's also going to be really political as we kind of go along, because it's going to be this dangerous act of like touching strangers, right? So that's a long time away. I think my ability to teach or even safely to dance with somebody else is going to be a long time from now. But in the meantime, I'm inspired by by Gustavo and by Liza and what they're able to do. Because I think also walls present interesting ideas for partnership. So anyway, but thanks for having me, everybody. I'm gonna go, but everybody stay well.
Appreciate you. Yeah,
It was awesome, Nancy. That was great. I
the
love Cap
Instagram handle
Calloway
there.
and Ella Fitzgerald. So yeah, it was perfect.
Cool. Bye, guys. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you very much. Nothing but hits in the Instagram there. Gustavo, let's kick it over to you. Are you ready to throw a little more knowledge at us in the breakdance world?
Yeah, sure.
This is a very natural segue here. So.
Well, I'm thinking about what I'm gonna teach that is gonna be super easy to everyone. Oh, I know what I can teach. That it's something very common. It happened that like 5 years ago, I started giving classes inside a school, like a little school, like a high school. I was giving classes to teenagers, but then all the fathers come to get them, and I didn't finish the class, so they was waiting for me, and I was like, "Why you don't dance?" Like, no, I can't do that. I cannot be on about my arm. I'm too old to do this, or my back is hurting me. So I realized that it's another way to teach people how to dance. And it's about how to understand your own body. Like, what thing are you capable to do? Like, everyone's like, oh, I'm gonna get up from my bed. And then it's like, oh, fuck, my back hurts just from get up from the bed. And that happened to me. So then I realized that we use our chest just to get up. If you use your chest, you don't want to use anymore your knees if you just follow your movement. So when I started giving classes, doing that, everything changed. So I'm gonna explain pretty much how my body works or how I understand my body to do a lot of different movements. And like I said, I'm just gonna turn off my mic and then I'm gonna come back here. So I'm gonna explain it. So I'm gonna try my best. If you want, you can put music. If you don't, it's pretty much the same. Pretty much it's way too easy, because the only thing that I need to understand right now is how my hip work and the way that I do any movement. Like if I'm just dancing here, I can just turn my hip and I can dance only that, like doing swing. Just doing that, I understand that what I need to do is move is my twist. So one of the first things that I teach to anyone is how to lift your twist, being on the ground. If you understand that even if it looks super easy, it's hard to people that never understand how to do that, and it's just move your hip to the side. So doing any kind of thing that you're gonna do, it's normal. Anything like how I can say the only hard thing that I do is just move my hip to the left. So that's gonna allow me to do anything I want. If you think it like that, it's way too hard. But trust me, everything that involves breakdance, it's about you need to know your own body and how it works. I know that how much strength I have, not because I do a lot of workout, it's just because I get on my feet all the time. So I know that my feet's gonna get all the weight of my body so I can do this. And I know that I'm gonna stay there. The same with my hands. If I just sit on the floor and I need to get up, I know that my shoulder is gonna be enough. So if you know your body, you can do whatever you want. So the most easy thing that I'm gonna teach is this. I'm gonna put it like this. This feet gonna go from behind, and you're gonna use your two hands and you're gonna go to the floor. You go down, I'm gonna do it like this, feet to the ground. Go down, you're gonna use your two hands if you want. you go down. And you're never gonna use your knee to touch the ground. So whatever you do, you can totally do like this. But then you need to understand your body again. That's the most basic go down thing. And if you go to any breakdance or stuff like that classes, the first thing that they're gonna teach you is something that is called 2 steps. It's only this, and to the ground. That's my advice for today. Know your body and you can do whatever you want.
Fantastic.
Lots of stretching beforehand. Lots and lots of getting loose before you get into it.
A lot of warm up, I'm gonna say that. But these are the stretch that I have. That's all. I can barely stand like this, for example, and I'm gonna do a lot of strength. But that's all the time that I can be in that position. So that way you can understand that I don't need to have like a super professional gymnastic body to do something. Some people are afraid that, oh, because I cannot do a push-up. I don't have the strength. I don't have the flexibility to do this movement. I cannot dance. As you say about the swing dance, you don't need to know how to dance. It's about having fun and discovering that you can do stuff. I'm dying.
Love it. All right. Well, we've reached the 6 o'clock hour, which is usually when we wrap this thing up. So, Gustavo, thank you so much for your time, for sharing us some breakdance knowledge and some moves.
Yeah,
Thanks to you.
Bringing us the 101 course so we can try to hurt ourselves in our living room.
Liza and Nancy both jumped off, but follow them on the gram. Follow us, Digital Speakeasy, Monday through Thursday, 5 o'clock. Check it out on Facebook Live. Who's coming up next? Jeremy's coming up next. Jeremy already jumped off. Jeremy's coming up next to Connecticut on Monday. He's got an incredible lineup. It's going to be rad. And then we're going to play it out here. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thanks to you.
Nice. Yeah, Tom, I had a Highland Park cocktail, little fresh pear juice, lemon, and agave.
Well, you did it. You went and mixed something up right in the middle there. Fantastic. Great work. Cheers, buddy.